What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's live with special guest Tyler Austin. What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Very good. Excited to
Awesome.
be here with you. Talk about how to be first to market.
Yeah.
So this is a thing that the Sift community is big on. Something you've been teaching. How long you been teaching this?
2017 or so, 18.
So for a little while, right?
Yeah. It's tried and proven, that's for sure.
There you go. So explain to everybody what does it mean to be first to market?
Yeah. So this is important to understand. So when you're going to be first to market, the end goal, what people, let me say what people think it is first, and then I'll tell you what it really is, because that's, if you think this is something that's going to magically make you a millionaire, that's what it's not. Okay. So we can just remove that from the very beginning. A lot of people, when they hear first to market, because they see users that are, we have a user, Quentin, I think I might've talked to him on our last live, like, he started 8 months ago and has already closed out north of almost 500K in like assignments. You know what I mean? From just foreclosures and probate first to markets. Just closed a 6-figure deal like 3 weeks ago. He's got a 70K deal closing out next week. Like, just crushing it. I just locked up. I just closed today, actually, 161 Homewood, since I've already closed Homewood Drive here in Fort Walton Beach. It's a $120,000 flip from first to market. It is a deal that can, a process in which can make you a lot of money. But the idea is not to come in with the mindset that I'm going to start it today and all of a sudden I'm going to be like generating a ton of leads. The ideology is not to generate a ton of leads from it. It's to generate the correct numbers faster than my competitors. It's to put myself at a more heightened advantage compared to anybody else in the market. By the time anybody else pulls the list, I've already gathered the correct number and I've already spoken with the seller, and they're now in my follow-up campaigns compared to the person who is now having to get a hold of that, that person and try to. And most of those people are doing it in bulk marketing strategies. And, that number is lost in the sauce and the dialer, you know what I mean? And so it's really about understanding your numbers drastically. If like in my case, on average, there's 65 probates in Okaloosa County, Florida. How many of those 65 am I reaching the family members and getting like, are you interested or not interested? I aim to be above 50% on that number. In the case of probates, of course, my goal is not to get a contract today. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times these homeowners, they're not going to want to sell their house or they're not going to want to sell their deceased family member's house today, but there is a percentage that will, right? But like this one I just closed, I spoke to them July of last year, actually July 10th of last year to be specific, right? And so, it's 8 months or whatever that is. I don't know. I'm pretty done with that kind of stuff. 9 months maybe. But it's closed out and now I'm rehabbing it, and I'm going to make 6 figures on a deal from a correct number I generated last year. And when it comes to probates in some of these situations, again, they're 90 days, 120 days till they're ready to actually make a decision. But that's why I have other marketing, campaigns set in place. I'm doing not interested follow-up. I'm rehashing my leads every single month. I'm doing these other things, and we'll kind of discuss that. But anyway, what is first to market? It's about putting myself in a position to get the opportunity before my competition, right? And if I do that for months, years, I end up having every correct number to high quality correct numbers to people who are more likely to convert over time compared to somebody who is pulling a bulk list and calling through it all the time. Like they're kind of like all across, they're all over the place. A good way to also think of this is if you're a real estate investor starting today, right? Let's just say you're like, hey, I want to get started in real estate. And then, they talk to you or they talk to me and I'm like, hey, probate's amazing, or they talk to some guru that's like, yeah, pull a list of probates for the last year. Right. Or pull tax delinquent list from last year up to the last year. A lot of times when you get started on a specific niche, you don't pull like the niche from the last month until now. They pull from the last month to like a year ago to get enough data to work. Right.
Right.
If you're first to market over the course of the last year, you would have been pulling that list anyway, or starting today, you would start pulling the list first to market. And in a year from now, you would already have that list compared to the guy who's just getting started, right? They'd have to regather everything anyway. So it's always more important to get first to market first. And once you are first to market, then backfill the data from a year back, right? Because
Gotcha.
there's still going to be deals in that data for sure, because of the fact that, well, they don't make decisions but every 90 to 120 days anyway. But again, they would have already been sent mail 4 times from me. I would have already talked to them a few times, and now you're just getting started. So it is a foolproof way to always stay above board.
So one of the questions I have, because you mentioned probate,
yeah,
and I unfortunately am on the seller side of a probate situation. My grandmother passed away. She had a house that my aunt is living in, and so we had to go through the probate process. I ended up being an heir of this, and we are eventually going to have to sell the property. This has been ongoing now for a couple of years due to the fact that my aunts lived there. So in that scenario, one thing I noticed is because of the fact that it was a probate, immediately, like the first 6 weeks, I got a ton of marketing from real estate investors, but I haven't received anything in probably a year and a half from one real estate investor. So what are your thoughts about the benefits of being first to market on a probate specific in comparison to also establishing a relationship and continuing to follow up as that situation plays itself out?
It's really important to be first to market, but then make sure that you just never stop continuing to follow up, right? At the time back then, for pretty much any of those individuals, you guys probably said, yeah, we're not interested, right?
Right.
But at some point you're going to be, and a lot of, and the downfall is all those investors, I can almost guarantee they have no not interested strategy, right? Because they look at a not interested like, okay, you have nothing to give me today. And so you're of no value to me. I don't look at it like that. I say, okay, you're not interested today, especially with probates. You're not interested today. That's fine. Do you have an idea of when you're going to be ready to make a decision? Until then, I'll send you over some resources. Do you have an email? I can send you my pamphlet for how the probate process works. And then I'm going to follow up with that not interested at minimum every quarter. So at the start of every single quarter, we send every single correct number in our database that's not interested to get called through again. And so you get a ton of connections. You get to have a lot of conversations. And specifically for a lot of those probates, they convert. And for not interested campaigns, especially if you have a high value correct number database, they're going to convert around a 2.5% ratio, right? So that's pretty good. I mean, that's the whole reason why we market, is to gather as many correct numbers as possible with homeowners in our market. The problem is that most investors, they're doing like a lot of the really bulk marketing, which is okay, right? If you call them, bulk dialing, I have no problem with that as long as you're tracking the data from it. But a lot of those are not very high value correct numbers compared to probates, foreclosures, and so on. They have high value correct numbers. They're going to convert over time. When you build a database of numbers in which it's not a matter of if they want to sell, it's a matter of like, when are they going to sell? An easy way to understand this in your market is just look at how much data how many properties are listed in your market today versus how many are out there in the market. Is it 1% of your data of your market? Is it 1.5%? So if you get 65 probates a month, in my case, there's no doubt that by the law of averages for however many years it's been that out of that 65, I think my market's like 2.5% of the market. So let's do 65 times 0.025. There's at least 2 deals that are going to close from that, period. That's only on market. That's not accounting for the stuff that goes off market, right? So the question is, am I going to be the one that puts myself in the opportunity to get those 2? And the only way to do that is not just to be first to market, but all those phone numbers that you do gather correct numbers for, but to then nurture them over time, especially the not interesteds.
So it's so funny how you answered that, because case in point, I am very knowledgeable when it comes to real estate, but yet I cannot predict the future. So in my aunt and uncle's case, we're the 3 heirs. Their question to me is always, RJ, how much money are we going to get if we sell this property?
Yeah.
And I have to make an assumption based off of the comps. And I also have to make an assumption based off of the comps and the condition that the property exists in. If one of those real estate investors that come along and said, hey, RJ, do you want to sell? Not right now, because this is the situation. The same story I told every single one of them. But if one of them had said, all right, well, just so you know, I am willing to give you $250,000, I could have gone back to my aunt and uncle and said, hey, guys, if we can wrap this up right now, we get $250,000.
Yeah.
Maybe that moves the needle to get them to want to pull the trigger instead of elongating this out. Because right now it's just that they don't know how much we're going to get. And are we ready to start going down that process of listing it on the MLS? So just a little rabbit trail down the probate side of things. But because I'm actively inside of one myself on the seller side, there's a lot to think about there when you're talking to those types of sellers. So let's get into the first to market stuff. What do you mean by that? And how do I actually become first to market? Because you're talking about foreclosures, probates, other motivating factors. So how do you do that?
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and we have the challenge, right, that I told you about. And I'm just going to show y'all some of the slides from that challenge really fast. And we'll just kind of go through that a little bit, and then I'll kind of set our tone. And then I think the best thing for me to do is just to show you like an example of me being first to market on probates and how that would function. Because probates and foreclosures are my favorite thing, and tax delinquency. But we're actually going to call, if we have time here, I'll call. I have a seller that I went out to an appointment yesterday, and we're going to call her and let her know that I can do the price that she was looking for. She was at 60. I got her. I offered 35, and we're meeting at basically 40. Right. So,
so you're going to lock a deal up live?
Yeah, we're going to lock it up. Hopefully, we're going to give her a call. She, I already kind of set the tone and said, hey, if I can do this, yada, yada, yada. There's a whole phone conversation earlier today on my war call. So we'll see how that goes. But before we get into that, because that's just I want to show you guys some of the meat and potatoes on implementation. So I'm going to go ahead and try to share here. See if it lets me move you to my left side here. There we go. Entire screen. Also share system audio, and then we'll do screen one. Boom. Got it. Okay. So this is my Sift account here, and you can see on the right-hand side here, I have like assigned tasks, follow up and stuff like that. Those are all first to market leads that I need to follow up on. But I'm going to go to this slide deck here and kind of, let's start on like day one really quick. And I'm just going to burn through these slides a bit. Primarily the fundamentals of first to market and what it means. So what is first to market? How and where do you get data? And then like expectations are probably the most important things for us to talk about today. And then we'll hop into the other stuff. So this is a real world example of a first to market. So this is kind of crazy, actually. This deal, 872 Van Dyke Drive. I'm not going to go into my Sift account and everything, but I use this in the first to market challenge because this is actually from a first market lead that came in. At the time, I was at Universal Studios down in Orlando, and my caller got this lead that came in, and he was a brand new caller, and he didn't know, like, he literally started the day prior, and then this lead came in. He didn't know how to like properly assign a task and all that kind of stuff. And so he put it in the Discord channel, and like that next day I called the lead, and he didn't answer. Okay. And we talk about follow up and all that other kind of stuff, like what you said earlier. Well, I was going through my Sift account doing my standard, like, hey, let's reverse engineer failures and successes kind of stuff. And I filtered by some first to market stuff that didn't get handled, whatever. And I searched this address and it ended up selling. Well, when Andy spoke to him, he was willing to take 240,000, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. As is condition, whatever. Well, if we search this address really quick, just to show you guys how much of a F up this was of mine, 240 Van Dyke or 872 Van Dyke. Let's just search this really fast. So here's the house, man. It is, so he sold for 338, and here's what it looked like. He didn't do anything to it, but like, the renters moved out. It's perfectly fine condition, looks beautiful, just clean, vacuum the carpet and clean them probably, typical. This is rental quality house. Like, this is going to sell no problem in my market as is, whatever. And it did, right? Well, look at when they listed this. If I scroll down and look at when they listed this property, they listed it for sale in September, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I just do this really fast, we're going to go in a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but go to my records page and search that same address. And then look at when did he add the lead, or when did it become a lead? Actually, you know what? He put the information on the owner profile. That's one of the things he messed up on. July 12th is when it became a lead. So he listed 2 or 3 months later or whatever.
Right.
So I had plenty of time to follow up and get a hold of this person and list it. Well, look at what he wanted for the property. He wanted 245 to 250, and he ended up selling it for 330 as is. So simple math, y'all, just so you know, 338,000 times 0.07 at the highest amount you pay in closing is 23 grand. So 338 minus 23, minus his asking, get it at the 245. Let's just say that leaves 70,000 on the table. Even if I use my own cash, that's an easy banger, right? But even if I used hard money lending at 245,000 multiplied by 0.02, if I paid points, I don't do that, but that's 5 grand. Okay, 245 times 0.12 divided by 12 for APR times at least 3 months plus my 5. That'd been another 15 grand. So 70 minus 15. This was an easy net 55K wholesale, right? We did the work to generate the lead. We made the phone calls that were needed to get the person on the phone and generate that correct number. It was the second half of the operation that failed here. And so the reason I bring this up and the reason it's here is because I can teach you all day long how to generate correct numbers and how to do all this other shit. But if you don't actually do the rest of it, then you'll lose deals and you'll be like, oh, that doesn't work. Like, no, you gotta mean it. You know what I mean? You got to actually put the effort in and do the follow-up and stuff like that. And this is a $55,000 failure of mine, you know? And it happens. So anyway,
I appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of times we don't think about those, right? We only think about the wins, but it's like, well, how much revenue is lost in the ones that we don't do our job on, right?
Right. Well, look at this in Sift. Check this out. In fact, I'll just do this instead. One of my VAs, she's kind of she's my data VA. She's responsible for handling everything. This is something that she sent to me the other day. 171 sold so far. She checks every day. So since we've in our first market strategy, like we've missed out on 171 deals. Remember when we first talked, I said that there's $32,240 for every 1,300 dials, right? Like we don't dial anywhere close to $1,300 a day, let alone, you know, a week, right? But like we've lost 171 deals in the last year, whether it be a listing or a wholesale deal or whatever. 171 properties have been lost. Look at some of the skip trace dates on this photo: 540 days ago, 540 days ago, 219 days ago. Whether it be that we had a correct number or not, I'd have to look at those, which I can. In Sift, I can literally filter by property status, sold, and then phone status. At least one phone number contains a correct number. Apply. 69 of those, we had a correct number to the homeowner. You know what I mean? Like, where did that come from? Well, most likely they were previously not interested or something, and we didn't get a hold of them, and they ended up selling the property. You know, and then
that's who they are. They called me. I'm a probate.
Yeah.
I said I'm not interested, and like I just said, they didn't. Not one investor made me an offer. Not one asked me how much we want for the property. They just said, "Are you interested in selling?" And I said, "Not right now, because I have 2 other heirs and I'm dealing with the situation of where my aunt's going to go." Not one of them said, "Well, can I go ahead and how much do you want for it? Are you good? What do you want to do?" Like, they didn't dig deep. There's a process to this. Like, I would have dug deep with asking questions if I were talking to myself. Not one of them did that. And in your case, you just found 69 people. The only reason why you know those numbers are correct is because you spoke to them, right?
Yep. So this one hurts right here.
You spoke to 69 people and you weren't able to convert it, even though they now sold. So why did this one hurt?
This one hurts bad, actually. So, damn. So basically this deal, we do something called Sift Summit. Sift Summit happens once a year. It's like a little real estate event. I sent out, this is a first to market on tax delinquency. I sent out mail. We have a direct mail feature here in Sift, basically, where you can select records and, you know, you can send mail internally.
Right.
I'll just show you an example. Boom, you know, whatever. Okay. So I sent mail. And this guy called inbound. He's a military cat, got stationed in North Carolina or whatever. I think that's where it was. I can't say, I got it blurred out. But anyway, I was able to buy this. I think it was at 60. Let's see my offer history. Might have been 75. They go 75,000, right? I had it under contract August 10th. I was supposed to send him a contract, but I was hosting the event, yada, yada, whatever excuse I want to throw out there. You know what I mean? And then 10 DLC A2P came out. And I was texting him following up, but I didn't realize that my texts weren't going through because I was receiving text messages. I didn't fully understand. And I never just picked up the phone and called him. You know what I mean? And so I was texting him and he wasn't ever responding. So I just was whatever, you know. But I was trying to buy this so that I could split the lot in half. You see, this is a double lot right here.
Yep.
And split it in half and put 2 trailers on there. Well, they ended up buying it for 47, not 75. That would have been a sure as hell. I could have wholesaled this tomorrow. If I bought this for 47,000, I could have wholesaled this tomorrow for at least 65, you know, for land value. But look at this thing. This property is in much better condition than what he told me. It's just a trailer. This thing is in perfectly okay condition. He told me that it was messed up. That ain't fucking messed up. That thing is perfectly fine.
Oh my goodness.
And I fucked up this, like, and they got it listed. They bought and listed it for 170,000 next day. Who knows if they're going to sell it? But again, this was a first to market tax delinquent deal. You know, it's only been listed one day, or it has 28 saves. Yeah, they're gonna sell this. They're gonna make a bag, dude. First to market, a free freaking lead. You know what I mean? Now, granted, this was mail. It was skip trace, no numbers was this campaign. I sent out a handful of postcards that I never got phone numbers back from first to market. And then this guy called inbound. So anyway, just a couple examples of literally me. That's 6 figures, almost multiple 6 figures. They're going to make like 100 grand from that deal, you know, and then I missed the other one for 55, you know, so it's $160,000, $150,000 in opportunity from last year. That's literally only 2 deals, and I miss out on a ton of them all the time. But it's the ones that I get that matter. And it's why anybody can do this strategy and win. So again, what is first to market? It's about narrowing down. If you have a market of 500,000 people, right? Eliminate the 99.999% and focus on the people that matter consistently, build a good quality amount of correct numbers, right? It's that idea of puddle, ponds, lakes, oceans, right? If you can get a deal in a puddle, right, you can get a deal in the ocean. It's just going to cost you more money and time. And a lot of people try to jump in the ocean right away, but you got to buy the boat. You got to buy the expensive fishing rod. You got to have the lines in case you get a, you know, big fish. Like there's a lot more expenses associated with it compared to if you start in a puddle and then instead of like jumping in the ocean right away, you know, you could just start spearfishing, you know, like there's just like a lot of ways that you can do the deals, but first to market is a way to have like a really low budget, but still do other stuff like PPL, for example. Like this is a great like combination with PPL, because with PPL, I'm getting inbound leads, right? But then also I'm out there and I'm focusing on those really high, you know, targeted niches, right? And the really cool thing, some people say like, hey, first to market's not scalable. Well, the cool thing is you can actually be bulk first to market, right? You can pull probates across 7 or 8 counties in Florida and call through them every single day, but use a bulk dialer. You're not going to have as big of a result, like from a connection rate perspective, but because you're looking to scale your company out, you're sacrificing on accuracy for scalability, right? And that's going to happen no matter what. Your margins are going to go down a bit, but direct from the county, maybe Texas, for example, maybe like their laws for evictions aren't very good, right? Well, then just go first to market in Florida with evictions, because guess what? You get a free correct number. The evictions are posted and the phone numbers are on there for free, right? It doesn't matter. So, but maybe I want to do probates in Florida and in Texas, because I know Texas actually probate is really good. Like my buddy out of Houston, first to market, you know, 7-figure operation out of Houston with 2 people on his team. You know what I mean? Just in Houston playing deals, and it's super, super easy. And I could do both those states, but in Houston, it's like 200 probates a week. You know, like that's what I get in a single month across all 4 of my niches first to market. You know what I mean? So you're not going to be able to keep up with that, because that's 1,000 probates a month And if you try to do your rehash campaigns, you're not interested to follow up, and you're a solo person, you're not going to be able to have the bandwidth to do all the proper follow up and everything on that volume of data, you know. But anyway, here's where you can get first to market data. You know, county clerks, local government departments like the police department, water companies, code enforcements at the city level and the county level. It's a really big one. A lot of people don't pull stuff from the city level. They don't think about it because you only hear about the counties. Real estate agents, scouts, which is like people who are like pocket listings, stuff like that. Those are all part of first to market relationships. And then, of course, data providers. Like you can get foreclosure data from Sift and a bunch. You got Batch. I think they have foreclosure data in some of these niche ones. And then PropStream. But the big thing to understand about data providers and pulling niche data from those is you're not going to be as first to market as I am. You're going to be delayed, right? There is a data provider. I told your team about them, Real Estate IQ. They're great in Texas and across a lot of areas. They're about 3 to 7 days behind. But if you don't have a team and you don't want to pay for a VA, they're very affordable, right? You can use them and then just, be a few days behind. You're not going to call them when I do, but hey, I probably ain't going to reach them in 72 hours anyway, because typically our highest connection rate happens with the most high quality leads is usually the second or fourth follow-up on calling through the list. Okay. And then expectations are basically already, kind of covered, but this is not a get rich quick overnight. Really, you want 90 days of doing the work, right? And that's not 90 days of like, hey, I've been in real estate for 90 days and I've called like 7 times. It's like every day you're doing the fucking work. New data comes in. I'm calling through it. I'm following up against that data every 72 hours. I'm going to show you exactly how to do the strategy. And then I'm also following up with those non-interesteds every 90 days. You can go on our website and listen to this guy right here. We have our case studies on here. There's a bunch missing right now, but Kyle Blake, he's a real estate agent. Listen to his story, right? First 45 days, locked up a $15,000 wholesale deal. And then by calling through his not interested, he got 101 not interested probates. By calling back through that not interested probate list 30 days afterwards, he ended up generating another $18,000 from the people that were not interested 30 days ago. Right. And he tell it from his story. And literally on here, you have an exact process. We have a flow chart, literally is step by step of what exactly he does, and so that's another example. He's a real estate agent, just started and got results within his first 45 days. And there's a ton of examples of that. But again, expectations are you still got to put the back end work in. And these ones are probably kind of important here too. Like it takes time. Compound is key, right? It's the most important thing in anything that you do. You got to compound. You might run today and burn a little bit of calories, right? But if you don't burn calories tomorrow and also don't eat, more than 5,000 calories a day for at least a solid week, like you're not going to see a decrease in a pound. You might increase in weight, right? And so compound is really important, right? Dabbling is luck. Don't dabble, commit. Right? Bulk dialing gathers just as many correct numbers as first to market, except for it's more expensive to execute. But there's a place for it. And then it's not that first to market doesn't work. It's that you never gave it time to compound, right? There's no question if first to market works, because remember that I said earlier, the person who pulls a list today for a year of probate data, like they're going to get a deal. You know what I mean? So it's not a question on if calling and doing first market works or not. It's a matter of if you can be comfortable with just having a systematic, non-sporadic strategy that you follow, which most people really desire, but then they don't want to actually do the efforts that it takes to have it, right? They want the idea of it, but they then don't execute on it. And the other really big thing with first to market, unlike bulk dialing, is that it actually becomes cheaper and better the longer that you do it. Right. It is like any marketing is something that I always kind of tell people is like the idea of marketing is that like your cost per lead and all these things become cheaper the more that you kind of function and do it. Like Facebook ads, like it's not like we're trying to make our cost per click more expensive, right? As much as Facebook makes it try to do that, right? The idea is like, hey, we build a lookalike audience and then we market to those people, and we are continuing to build lists internal to our business that we can have a heightened edge to get in front of more people. Well, an example of that with first to market for us is if I filter by like my probate list, right? And then I filter by my parameters and others like out of state, click apply. I have 159 properties. Hey, that one's a warm lead. And then I filter by, let's do this. We'll do phone statuses. Say all phone numbers are wrong, dead or DNC, meaning I don't have a correct number. Click apply. And then there's this one that's not interested. These two had already sold. Look at that. So example of ones that I found I lost. I had one record or one phone number. It was a dead number and it sold last year. Yeah. So like these happen all the time where, you know, just out of that niche, out of state. I mean, what is that? That's a 20% ratio of properties that sold just because I didn't get a hold of them because I didn't have a correct number. Right. But this not interested. Let's see what's up here. Why don't I have a correct number and it says not interested? I don't know where this is located. I was going to say we could call them. I don't know which one's the correct number. I can look at my activity log and see, is there a correct number previously? Sherry Thomas.
I got a question for you on this. Are you saying that we should specifically pick one niche like probate, like foreclosures, like tax delinquency, or should we be blending them?
Great question. So you start with one, right? And once you get good at one, you have two options. You either add in more lists internal to your county and capitalize on more of your county, or you add probate in on another county and you start dominating probate by the state, right? So it depends on how you want to function as a business. I prefer personally, I prefer to add more niches in your county and then focus on brand on top of it, right? Like my company name's Florida Cash Real Estate, right? Like I want my brand to be known. I want SEO. I want all those things because in my county, if I can capture more on those 200 properties that have these problems every single month, I mean, if I can at least get 10% of them, you know what I mean? That's 20 deals a month. Like that, anybody would agree that in your local market, if you're doing 20 deals a month, you're pretty known. You're going to have a lot of organic business. A lot of stuff are going to come from it. And so I prefer that, but that's just because I believe brand is more important than not. And I'm not a huge fan of just sole sales operations, but that's going, that's a preference, right? If you're nationwide, like what you do with PPL and a lot of that stuff, like but you also have a local brand. You got a TV show, you got all those things as well, right? So you started with local brand, and then you're also saying, hey, I can also do this nationwide. And I think you just got to decide on what is your business like, what's your personality like, what do you enjoy, and then decide, am I trying to go statewide, nationwide, or am I trying to focus brand? You can do both at the same time if you have the bandwidth, but you really got to focus on one, get consistent, and go from there.
So one of the questions right here is how do you get direct to source?
What does that mean?
So I think what they were referring to, where do you get the leads? You said direct to source. So I think what you were talking about is like county records.
Yeah, county records is always going to be your best. Now some states you can't get, your county data, so you're going to have to go to the next best thing. As well as actually going to mention earlier, like you can become first to market on PropStream, for example, or first to market on Batch, because most people aren't filtering by their data sets on PropStream daily. They're focusing once a month, for example. So if you go in there every day and you just filter by new foreclosures and PropStream daily nationwide, guess what? You can be first to market with PropStream's data nationwide, which is not as good as the people in those local markets that are being first to market, right? Going directly from the county, but you're still being better than PropStream's 20,000 users or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're still going to have an advantage.
And Burton broke that down as well when he came on about how to pull a list. He also showed on there when PropStream will show you when they last updated that record. So you know exactly if it's fresh or not.
Yeah.
Like you can look on there and be like, oh, it just got updated February 29th, 2024. Yeah. Okay, that was yesterday. I'm first to market as far as PropStream users.
Right, as far as PropStream, but obviously you're never going to be as good as straight from the county. Right. And it's better to build that process. Like I have a VA, that if I say, hey, go to whatever county and pull it, all she's going to do, I'll show you an example here of my all she's going to do is she's going to take our training manual, right, from what we do, and she's going to literally just, duplicate it over in that area. You know what I mean? This is exactly how we pull probates, evictions, our first to market lists, and she's going to do it. And she's going to clone it. So if I wanted to hop in a new county, it's just a matter of her. She's going to go there. She's going to find the clerk of court. She's going to figure out what needs to be done. She's going to create it. And all of a sudden we're going to start generating leads in Citrus County, for example. Right. Yeah. So let me show you all how you would generate and build a list. Right. Let me go back to, all right. So from this point, how far are we in right now? Wait, how long? We only have an hour. Okay. So now we understand what first market is and kind of where the data comes from. Now let's go into like the actual implementation side of it. That way people have that, right? And we could always timestamp like, hey, this is, if you don't want to hear all the boring stuff, then this is where to start, So let me open up, we'll go back to resources here, community members. I think it's, no. Here you go. So we're going to use this as an example here. If it loads.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. This is a Google Drive link. I don't want to pull up my actual one from my business because it'll screw with you. Well, it'll screw with YouTube and all the addresses,
Right.
The less, the better. Here it goes. It's working. It just popped up with at least something. Okay. While that does that thinking, this is an example of a clerk website, right? You just Google, blank county clerk's website. There's two different pieces of these websites. There's the open source, where everybody can come to, filter by like a court type, for example. Let me filter by like probate here. And I'll just select probate, and then I'll just do I'm not a robot, and then search, right? And it's going to show, I might have to put a date range in there. Let's see. It's going to show a bunch of probate cases. I should have put a date range. It's going to take forever, probably.
Oh, because it's going to go back forever.
Let me close that Google Doc. Am I like having really slow internet or something? Like what the hell's going on?
Oh no, you look good.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to go back. Let's go back to like the last week, or from here to like here. Okay. And then I'll do probate again. Actually, let's do evictions. No, probate's going to be easier. Never mind. So just the last week, and then click search. Okay, there you go. So there's 71 probate related cases, right? So here's the decedent, and then here's the applicant. So this is the same person. We're going to look at the decedent. I'm going to click on the case number. What's going to happen is going to pull up the case, right? What we want to look at is the death certificate and the personal representative, right? Because that's the information we want. But notice on the left-hand side here, I just know that it's there. I don't know any other information compared to let me just grab this case number to speed us up. I'm going to log in now by you create an account by registering, which is going to have a form, something like this. You're not an attorney, so you're just going to be a registered user. This is going to be the same, like pretty much in any county. It doesn't really matter where. I'm going to create an account. I'm going to log in. And when I log in, you notice there's a lot more options here. And so I'm just going to filter by the case number really fast so that I can show my example. It's going to pull up that case, and notice now I see information, and I can click on this personal rep document, and I can see what the address was, who the PR is. So the address 766 Overbrook Drive, which is actually like right around the street from me. So that should be in my system right now. Hopefully it's in my system. So 766 Overbrook. It might be the type of property that we don't pull, but let's see. So we might not pull that case type. Let's see what's the case. That's formal administration, so it should be. Oh, you know what? That might be her. My place of residence. Oh, that's the not the decedent's address. The decedent's address is. Hold
on. Is that at the top? No.
No, this is the wrong doc. Let we need the petition for administration. So I'd have to request this. So you click request and then you get it, but we can probably find it somewhere else. So what would happen is she would click request, she'd put her email in, and then it'll notify her, and then she can come back in here and she can view the document. Let's just do a different one. I'll show you. So what I'll do is let's just do an eviction one as an example, because that one's pretty easy. So that's going to be your circuit court or your county civil. Okay. And then I'm going to do my date range of last week. Okay. And then I'm going to select eviction from the court. I'm just going to do like, I don't know, eviction of rent. I'd have to look at our document to see what we're actually choosing, but we'll just do those 4. And the party type, I want the plaintiff. I want the person who's complaining, because that's the person that owns the property. And then I'm just going to click search. No cases found. All right, let's redo it. And then go back. Let's just do for the month. So sometimes there's not going to be anything because they might only file evictions like in a certain period in time, you know?
Right.
So we're going to do county civil, and then I'm just going to do eviction, and then I'll just search. I'll just select all for the sake of this. Okay. And then I'm going to do search. Okay. And so here's a bunch of evictions, right? And so I'm going to go to the plaintiff on this one. Let's do defendant, plaintiff. I don't like LLCs and stuff like that. I'm trying to find one that's not like an LLC. My son just woke up. Here you go. This plaintiff is a person. So I'd like to use it as an example.
Right.
So you click on plaintiff and you scroll down, and right here is complaint for eviction. Open that up. Hold
on. Full-time dad. There you go.
Yeah, full-time dad. I think I have a feeling that my wife went to go pick up my daughter from school. Okay, so here it is, right? There's the plaintiff's name, right? There's their information. You scroll down, there's the correct number to this person. And their landlord's address is 121 Sykes Avenue, but the place they're evicting from is 119 Sykes Drive, right? Okay, so if I go into REI Sift, was it 116 Sykes?
I thought it was 119, but maybe I was wrong.
Let me see. Yeah, 119. Just search Sykes. So there it is, right? So there's the address, and right now it's missing information, activity log. When do we upload this? June 15th. It was originally in the system for something, and I could look to see where it was. So it was on 10 plus years. So she hasn't added this address, this one in there yet. What is this from? This is from today. That's why, or yesterday. No, that's the 23rd. Why is this not in the system yet?
Yeah.
23rd. What the
quality control there. Yeah, so you're having a VA go through and manually.
Yeah, they're grabbing all this information. So let's just I'll try to really quick. I'll just click it up and I'll close it right away so that you guys can see. I'll just open up. Oh, good, my wife arrived. Fantastic. Oops. Let's log in. I'll show you an actual example here of what the document looks like. It looks different for every single one. Okay, we'll try and go quick. I don't want us to get banned. So evictions. So let's just scroll down so you can see this is all the addresses. Okay, and then I can search. Was that 119? Yeah, she hasn't pulled it yet. So let's look at the eviction, see like the last time that she I have to get on her ass. Why is it not? Yeah, why is evictions behind since the 22nd? Some BS. Are we up to date on probates?
So she's doing evictions, probates, foreclosures, just constant.
Yeah. Yeah, every single day is supposed to be like this. Is like literally she pulled today's probates. There's 3 probates today, right? And we're gonna call a couple. We'll call a couple of them. But I need to let's address. I'm a big proponent of addressing stuff right away. So hey, why is evictions not completed since 22nd? Okay. And there's a tracker on that, like where we can click on. I'll just open it up again. I can come over here and I could click on like February, for example, and I could see, okay, there's only a total of 69 total properties. Evictions was 15. It shows that she, week 8 that she pulled stuff, but why is it not, updated. It's kind of strange.
Right.
So she might not have ever uploaded it, or maybe she put it somewhere else, but it's not in the document. So we'll address it. But probate was only 46, right? But again, even out of these 15, right? Let's go now to the deal that we're going to call. I'll go to my acquisitions board here, and then go to for Pickens. When did I upload this record to the system? Let's go to the actual property here, activity log, and I can scroll down. Oh, so we added this eviction into Sift. February 9th, right? And then we got the correct February 9th, and we got the correct number. It became a lead on the 20th, but we started calling it. So it was uploaded on the 9th. And then we started calling it, sent it to Smart Dialer on the 19th. So yeah. So we weren't calling through evictions actually for a long time. We were only focused on probates because we're so busy on them. And then we were like, hey, let's rehash campaigns for probate or for evictions. And then, it kicked off 2 weeks later. We threw it to the dialer. And then in this case, we were doing a rehash campaign. So we threw it in Smart Dialer to catch up through it faster and then click the call. But we got that correct number on the second dial through.
Eviction process in Florida.
It's pretty quick. Just really depends. But it can be as quick as a week or two.
Because if this was entered on February 9th, and then it became a lead on February 21st, is that right? So 12 days.
Yeah, 20th. Yep.
So
and they're already out of the property. Yeah.
And now you're about to close on it. Another 10 days later.
Yeah, we'll close next week because it's going to be my own cash. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So like you start getting that tempo as you continue to do this, you'll start learning like, okay, from probates, when you review your activity log, you'll be like, okay, a probate, we get it in the system. Typically we get that correct number 3 weeks later. And then, they become a lead, 2 weeks later or a month later or 3 months later. And then, because the probate process take a little bit longer, right? And so you can kind of get a tempo, and then you can start tracking that in a sheet if you'd like. And we're working on our end to make this something that we just tell you because we have the information on our activity log. We just got to do some system-wide normalizations, like you telling us like what is a new lead and some stuff like that. Because right now you can create any custom status you want, and so that makes it hard to universally like create dashboards. But we have some stuff coming out for that. But you can see that this works pretty easily. So let's just go ahead and call her first real quick, and then we'll call some prospects. Let's see if I can't get her going here. You still hear my audio?
Yep.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, it's Tyler.
Hi.
Hey, you got a few seconds?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, so I told you, sorry it took me a little bit longer to call back. I thought I'd be able to call back just in a couple hours, but I wanted to make sure I was for sure able to say these words without having to go back on my word like I told you earlier, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. So earlier you told me if I can make the 40 happen that you guys would be pretty much ready to rock. Is that still true?
Let me talk to her for sure, but I think so.
Okay. Is it something where you can bring her in on the call with us, or do you want to have to call her and check?
Hang on. Let me see. I'm not sure where she's at. Hang on.
Okay.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm just in here with her on speaker. So
okay.
Saying 40 plus you do the closing.
Yeah. So the reason I texted you what I about the what did I call it? Let me just look at my text message here. If the title was part of the land, was because there is a potential that if that title was if the title of the trailer was attached to the land, it becomes where the trailer is now real property. But we're just gonna have to deal with that. I'm willing to take kind of the risk on that because that could end up costing like $1,500 to basically release the title from the land and create it to where the trailer can be removed. But I talked to my team. I talked to my crew to rehab it, and I'm ready to rock at the 40 because I told him I was like I'll take the risk at the $1,500 because I mean honestly I just want to do business with you guys. I drive past your guys' stores all the time, and I'm like, it'd be really cool to be able to say, hey, I did a deal with the Moors.
Well, why are you driving past it instead of stopping?
I actually know it's probably weird to say to people that own liquor stores, but I haven't drank in like almost 3 years now because I had a health condition come up, and so I don't drink as much as I mean I have a bottle of on my shelf behind me, a bottle of Hog Boss, I think is what it's called. I'd have to go grab it, but I think it's Hog Boss.
Oh yeah, the Whistle Pig.
Yeah, Whistle Pig Hog. That's like $850 bottle. I got to stare at it every day, and I
Yeah.
love my whiskey. And so, but sadly, if I still shopped at your stores, then you guys would have to give me the property because you guys have already made 35 grand from me, or 40.
Oh no, I'm just joking with you anyway. Okay, I mean, if you pay if we make 40 out the door, like we were really wanting to make more than that, obviously.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm good with that if you'll handle all the other stuff.
Yeah.
As long as we're getting that, then that's fine.
Yeah.
I just want to get it done. We don't want to deal with these people anymore.
I totally understand. I really did. I was really trying to even if I wasn't the one that bought it, I tried to ask around. I was trying to get as much from you, for you as possible, whether it was me or not. And at the end of the day, it's basically where I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna close on it. We can close next week. And if title comes back that quick, and then I'll basically figure out what I'm gonna do with it after that. The 35 would have been amazing because then I could have had it a little bit closer to where if I had to put a new trailer on there, it would have made a lot more sense. But hey, I can make it work. So what's the best email to send you over a contract to or an agreement?
More MOORE Cashen CASHEN @gmail.com.
CASHEN
Yes.
@gmail.
Yes.
Okay. So morecashin@gmail.com. Okay. All right. Fantastic. So what I'll do then is I'll draft up an agreement. I mean, I could do it now if you want on the phone and that way you guys can review it, or I'll just do it in a minute and I'll get it over to y'all and I'll just give you a call and we can review it together. But basically the process now is I'll send this over to you. You'll see, Tyler Austin's the one that's purchasing it. I'll probably transfer it over to my LLC at closing, which is Allies Properties. Most likely is the one I'll close it in. And then, but you'll see on there, we'll have, I'll probably do like a 45-day just so that we have, some bandwidth there, but we'll tell title that, hey, we're aiming to close by the end of next Friday. And then, outside of that, there won't be anything else on it. I've already looked at the property. They'll just say that you get $40,000. The only caveat is that whatever your taxes are, the prorated taxes. So I don't want you to get angry at me when it's like $39,500 because you're probably going to have a little bit of taxes. I'm sure it's very, very minuscule, but let's go. Let me try to give you an idea here.
Yeah. That's okay. Beauty of taxes.
Yeah, I know. And I try to pay them anytime that I can, but typically it's kind of like I got to pay my own taxes too. So let's see what it is though, just so I can give you an idea. 1706 Pickens. Let's see. We're 2 months into the year, so I can't imagine it being anything crazy. Last year the taxes were $700. So 700 divided by 12, you may have $100 in taxes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
You're not going to shoot me if that comes back on the HUD.
No.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Cool. Sweet. So then what we'll go ahead and do is I'll fill that out. Would you want me to do it now and kick it over to you, or would you rather me give you a call after I get it all filled out?
Yeah,
just send it over and we can review it.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'll get it over to you. On there, I do want to address something that will be on there, and because I know I end up getting questions, and I don't want to send it over to you and then you start ghosting me because you read the contract and think I'm a slime ball. I use the same contract for everything, meaning if I'm going to work with one of my partners, if I'm doing a commercial transaction, if I'm doing a owner financing or anything like that. So there is a blurb inside my contract that does mention closing costs, and it will just say all closing, and it'll say for you, it'll say nothing. And then there's also going to be a blurb in there for assignability and right to market, which everybody has the question about. And what that means is that if I was to assign, it is possible for me to assign this contract to another investor. I'll just tell you now that I don't plan on using that as my exit strategy on this deal. However, it is in there, and that's what allows me to sign the contract as Tyler Austin and then assign it to whichever entity I plan on closing in, whether it be Allies Properties, We Are Allies LLC, which are all my entities. So that's in there. Sometimes what I also do is I might buy it from you, and while we're under contract, I might start trying to find a buyer for the trailer and doing all that other stuff, and that's what allows me to do that as well. So I don't like to, being that I have my real estate license as well, I try to make sure that I'm having things protecting me from not going to prison for 20 years. So, cause yeah. Okay. And I think you have I think I hear the gentleman is in the background. He's the agent that I think you mentioned. Is that him?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so he can review it and see what it is. It's not the normal FAR bar. Of course, we can use that one as well, but I'll just send over a standard one. It's really similar to the FAR bar. But if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll put the again, and I'll add in the notes at the bottom that we aim to close for what is next Friday. The 8th. So we'll aim to close on the 8th. But the actual agreement will be valid, for 45 days. Okay. But I'll put in the notes in there just in case we have any hiccups and stuff on the title or anything that needs to be addressed. I don't want it to put it only like a week long and then I just have to redo an agreement because that's always annoying.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Well, I'll get it drafted and I'll get it sent over to you, and then I'll just give you a holler. I'll just give you a ping sometime tomorrow, or you guys just sign it, and then I'll get it over to title Monday morning. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Any questions for me?
No.
No, you're good. Okay. All right, sweet. Well then, if you do have anything, just shoot me a text message, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I close through well, let me make sure I close it right because I always mess up the Niceville name. The closing agency Emerald Coast. The closing agent. Yeah, that's what she says. The closing agency Emerald Coast. Her name is Delise. I don't know if he's ever closed with her or not, but the closing agency of Emerald Coast. So that's who we'll send it to. Her name's Delise again. I'll shoot you over a photo of her info. Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Well, if you have anything between now and then, let me know, but I'll get this drafted over and sent over to you, and we'll get this thing closed out for you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, you just you did something that no one else has ever done.
What's that?
You came on a live as a vendor and then used your own system and process to lock up a deal. It's always the other way around.
Yeah.
It's always like the vendors are like, hey, RJ, here's how you do it. Now go lock up the deal. You're like, nah, hold my beer, bro. I got this. Yeah.
So let me show you all what I would do now that I just got that done. Now so if you can make sure my screen. Yeah, there you go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to update my offer because I said 35. Initially, I told her 45 before I went out there, and I can click see offer history and see, that I originally put on February 23rd, 45,000. I went and looked at it yesterday and then realized, oh, well, I can only do 35. So I canceled that offer and I re-put it in here at 35. So now I'm going to update that offer. I'm going to put it as accepted, but I'm going to put it at 40,000. Okay. And then I'm going to put the, we will pay closing. on here just because, and then I'll click save. Now it's going to stay as accepted until she signs, but for the sake of showing you guys, once she does sign, I'll change it to under contract and then save it again. And it converts it now to a deal, right? And then I'll update the deal and I'll choose whatever my strategy is going to be. In this case, I'm probably going to flip the land. So I'm going to choose it as a flip, and then my renovation cost is going to be nothing. And then it'll go to like first closing and so on and so forth. So we'll process it through there. But for now, I'm going to update the deal and then choose deal fell through really quick so I can remake my offer on here. And I'll just switch it back to accepted at 48,000. Okay. And so we have that offer tracking in there, and we're right now working on really attaching that offer tracking and stuff to the amount of dials you make, the amount of correct numbers you generate, the amount of offers you make before the deal switches to under contract, all these different things, and really tying in a lot of these KPIs. For now, a lot of our users just do it through, just Google Sheets, right? But we're trying to bake it in. So anyway, that's an eviction. So now let's just show you really quick. Let's step through this deal and actually show you, again, how did this come to be? So we uploaded the data on February 9th, like we said. Okay, we called it and it became a lead on the 20th. But the big thing to look at is, again, it wasn't the first dial through. The first dial through happened on the 19th. Okay, and then I sent it back. See how it says week 8-2? That means that's the second time I'm sending this data set through. And so we called through it again, and this time it sent only 4 numbers, and then we called through those 4 numbers and ended up getting in contact with the seller. We can see voicemail, and there's the call, and then boom, new lead, and then from there appointment, and so on and so forth, right? So really simple process, and it's very much a repeatable process, very simple to do. So I'll create a task now. What I'll do is down here, there's 2 ways to do this on my end. It's going to stay a hot lead, but I'm going to change this board underneath acquisitions, and from make offer to follow up with offer, right? Because, actually offer accepted rather. And then once the contract is signed, I can move it there. And basically what that's doing is it's on my Sift line board underneath acquisitions. It just moved it from, make new offer to, offer accepted on the right-hand side. Right. And you don't have to use this. I just keep my records on there as I, play with them. I typically am only operating off my records page. But you can see like, it's really like everything all in one. When you're doing the first to market strategy, most people are using Sift for like everything in there. Right? They're not going to like generate a lead from the first to market strategy through smart dialer or smartphone and then like put it into like a different CRM or something and have to manage it over there as well. Okay. So I'll do that. And all I'll do here is I'll go to my templates and I'll choose a template in DocuSign. I don't really care about having built in like contracts in my CRM or nothing like that. It's not I don't know. It just doesn't really matter to me. And then it's just whatever. It's $300 a year, cheaper on some products. And I'll just edit this and I'll remove the recipients. I'll put her email in there for the cash and more. And then I'll go through and I'll fill it out. I have a very simple contract. It's nothing complicated. It's all filled out. I'll swap it out. This is a property I sold a sub 2 deal. I flipped it for 65 grand. Also a probate first to market strategy. And I just fill out, add the information, and then, kick it over. So, okay. Sweet. So I'm going to close this stuff out here. And then let's actually just do a little bit of prospecting really quick so I can show people real time. And we have, we're a little bit over. Do we have a little bit more time, you think? Or?
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay. All right, sweet. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go to my records page, and we build out flows. So I click on filter records, click on load, and you see my FTM pool. What pool means is what you mentioned earlier. Like, hey, do I do probates or do I do evictions or do I do this? Well, pool means to me that I'm just combining them all into one flow so that I don't have to worry about one or the other. Initially, for the longest time, I was only focusing on probates. And so even though I was pulling the data still for the other stuff, I wasn't calling it, right? And so I add it all in here, and all I'm saying is like, hey, it doesn't currently have a status, because if it did have a status, then I would need to go ahead and it would already been called, right? Call attempts are equal to 0. I click apply, and right now there's nothing in there, which is great. That means that, we've skip traced everything that is new. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on ready to call. Ready to call is basically, hey, it doesn't have any call attempts, but it does have phone numbers, right? If it does have phone numbers, but it doesn't have any call attempts, that means it needs a phone call. In this case, right now, we got 44 under there, right? So that we're going to be able to call through. And then what happens is we have like call attempt 1, call attempt 2, call attempt 3. And so today, for example, my caller would click in here and they'd be like, okay, cool. I got 6 people that I've called one time, but I still need to call them another time. And we'd go through that and we call through them 3 times. And then at the start of every single month, all we do is click on this rehash, click apply, and we send this case 2,322. These are all people that we've been trying to reach that have all first to market. And we just send them back to the dialer just to do a bulk triple line dial through, just to get through them. And we generate leads every single first week of the month by calling through this list, because they're all people who didn't answer before. And this is equivalent to like your bulk dial list. You notice it's 2,322 records. It's not a small amount, but it's not a large amount, but it starts stacking up, after a year or 2 years of being a big list that are high value contacts that you're trying to reach. And every 6 months, you just re-skip trace this data, or every year, to try to get more phone numbers that aren't in the current, credit bureau databases, which you can do right in here. You can export this, skip trace it in batch, skip trace it in prop, whatever you want to do. It doesn't really matter. You just, get the numbers in here, right? I use Sift skip tracing and Forewarn because Forewarn's free because I'm an agent. And what we found is that it gives, for my first to market stuff, it gives me an extra 20% more correct numbers. Okay.
But I'm also assuming that your contact rate on this first to market, especially on like the evictions, is super high because it's right there on the document.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, for evictions, it's high. Yeah. And so to give you an idea, if anybody's interested to watch, you can go here to this webinar right here, /clarity. In that webinar, every time we do it, I do a little bit of prospecting. And in this specific one, we updated the recording to have a call where, and even last week, I had the same thing. In fact, it's up, it's already refreshed here. But typically, I'm like a 50% for every 10 dials that I call, I'm reaching 5 correct homeowners. Wow. Right? So it's pretty high. And in fact, I have a lead that I need to follow up with. It's actually like pretty badly. It's a duplex that was generated on that webinar. I just haven't called him back yet. I think he's under here as well. Is it?
When you say it's a pretty bad lead, you just mean it's like in bad shape?
No, it's a good lead. Like it's a
yeah. I got you.
Yeah. Let me see. No, it's not that one. I don't remember where he's at. I gotta have to look at my task. It's probably under hot leads. Oh, here it is, Albert. Why is he not under offer? Huh. Okay, since we're on a roll here, I don't know. Let's just call Albert real quick, and then we'll go to the other stuff. Okay. This is a cool guy. He's like an 86-year-old, like Vietnam vet. See if he answers.
It's like my favorite type of seller to talk to.
Yeah.
Please leave your message for 703-979-6071.
Hey, Albert, it's Tyler Austin down here in Fort Walton Beach giving you a call back. I wanted to give you a little bit of time to see if you got in contact with the management company. I did notice that I do not believe it's been rented yet. It's still up for rent. So if you can, give me a call back when you get a chance, 850-812-5850. I'm still definitely interested in purchasing it. So if you can't get a hold of them, maybe sometime next week, I'd love to go over and take a look at it. Give me a call back. Appreciate it, Albert. Stay warm up there in those chilly states you're in. Later. Okay. Well, there we go. So let me go back real quick. I need to, I clicked off of it, but I need to complete my hot lead follow-up task and then go ahead and add a new one for my second attempt. So I'm just going to add day 2 in there because it was overdue, and then I'll leave it there. Let's go back to prospecting now. That's a great deal, but that like that'd be an awesome deal. 180 grand. He was pretty okay with it, but he, 86-year-old man, and he's never seen the property in like 40 years.
Wow.
So he's got the a lot of trust with that rental management company. Okay, so day to day, what is someone going to do day to day? Really easy. They're going to filter by their stuff that's ready to call, and you have two choices. You're either going to click on it, from here, and click apply, and then just click on a record and start calling it through here, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to call through those numbers, or you can just select these, especially if you're doing it bulk, and then send them directly to an integration like Smart Dialer. Call it the campaign, and then hop in Smart Dialer and just have it manually, have it automatically dial on like a power dialer. You can do 1 or 2 dials or 3 dials at a time. For 44 records, I would prefer this to just be called manually. This is vacant. Let's take a look at it really fast. I don't want to. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Did
On
you see
fire.
how it said sold for 49,000?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, in 2022.
So
Dude, hold on.
I'm curious if this is an investor.
It very well could be. But it's tax delinquent, multifamily mobile home. We're gonna take a look at. Y'all don't steal my my address here, but Reeves is a so-so. Oh shit, yeah, I'm not buying this from him. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. So like, he's gonna build a new house on that. I know. Yeah, he's got the lot next door. He's probably got the lot pretty close to. Yeah. Yep, not gonna call him. For him, I'm just gonna mark it. It's Malcolm Spears. I can see that it's not interested. Malcolm. Yeah, let me click on his name. You can see he owns a lot of properties. He's a builder, and him and he's a little upset with me right now because I just assigned a deal for $80,000. That was a first to market probate as well. In fact, I'll just show y'all it. Just because some people will say they're doing shit and not really actually doing shit. Niceville. Here's the address. That's the house. You go on my Instagram, you'll see me walking through it and all other stuff. So I just assigned this to another builder friend of mine. I was going to build on him, but I'm currently building a personal house, and I got 8 or 10 others right now that are going on, and I didn't feel like doing it. So Malcolm's the first person I reached out to, and then he kind of played like a little bit of a game, like, well, give me a number, yada, yada, yada. And it kind of annoyed me. So I just went to another person, and they just paid $10K above what I was wanting. So per lot. So I'll mark him as not interested. I don't want to call him because his other property is literally the same thing. Those all three of both those are Malcolm. So we're going to click here instead. Go to the next one. So what I'm going to do really fast actually is I'm just going to select these two Malcolms. In fact, there's another one. Okay, hold on. She must have cleaned up. Oh, I know why all these are here. See how this says company? My VA right now is cleaning incomplete data. So notice we have 190 incomplete ones right now under here. She's cleaning these and putting the right owner's information, and it's popping it over to clean for ready to call. So that's why there's so many Malcolms in here, because a lot of Malcolms are incomplete because they're under an LLC. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the mailing address here, because I know that every address that he has, I'm not going to do a deal with. And I'm just going to search that in my database here and just select every single one of them real quick and just do manage and then change status, and I'll just do not interested. We'll call through when our not.
How many hours a day is your VA working to add this data?
To be honest with you, I don't know what she's doing with the incomplete data, like how much time she's dedicating to that right now. It's whenever she's.
I'm talking about like going to the county clerk's website and getting the evictions and the probate, stuff like that.
Probably an hour or two a day, maybe, not a lot. Now, sometimes you have a day where there's a lot more, like for us, like the D transfer list, sometimes there can be like 80 of them in one day, and that takes a few days or whatever. But one VA full-time or a part-time VA can easily handle one niche. Like probate, for example, there's only 3. So if you're only doing one niche and you're in like not a metro market, like you should just do it yourself. Just build your list and upload it. You know what I mean? For sure. But let's look at, here we go. All right, let's give this one a call real quick. So I got 2 phone numbers for this one. I can click on my activity log and you can see this got uploaded February 29th. single family residence, updated the owner, got 2 phone numbers when we skip traced it, and it's a probate deal, right? So let's see if we can't reach. We got 2 phone numbers for the PR, so hopefully we can reach somebody. If not, hey bud, when you woke up earlier, you're a little pissed off.
The number you have dialed is invalid.
So bad number. So I'll just end it, click dead number, and then update this as dead right here, and then I'll call the next one, and maybe we'll end up getting a.
Please press 1 to claim your subsidy check.
That's not a number, right? Click end, right? And I'll put wrong number on that one, right? And so this is a great example of why deals slip through people's fingertips, right? So this address right now, I have 2 phone numbers, neither of them are right number. So this status is going to change to exhausted. What's going to happen when I do that, and this is why first to market is still better than like anything else, is it's going to automatically go to, oh no, I don't want your crap to get hit by the YouTube algorithm.
Mainly the phone numbers. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
So if I go to exhausted, it's going to add it to here, right? So new exhausted, and then my VA comes in and she grabs every one of these addresses and she goes in the internet and she just scours doing the deep prospecting strategy to find every phone number associated with relatives, the owner, and everything else, especially with the probates, right? And you'll notice that sometimes and then we're also sending mail to them, right? And so if we get return mail, that's a whole nother niche list where you have first to market stuff that you had no phone numbers, deep prospected, it sent mail, and then also got return mail. Like those are like Logan, like the kind of stuff he's dealing with, as you know. So anyway, so I switch the status to exhausted. I increment my call attempts by 1, and I just move on to the next record. And this will get handled through my other processes, right? So just click next record, and then I always click on the address just to see like if I like it, if I want to spend time on it when I'm dialing personally. But this is a probate. This also has 4 warn numbers on it. And so we're just going to give a call. We're looking to talk to Deborah. Come on, Deborah.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
Deborah.
Yes.
Hey, Deborah, this is
Yes.
Tyler Austin. I'm giving you a call because my team threw an address in front of me, 543 Mooney Road. And my job is to reach out and see if you guys are going to be interested in selling that property.
No, we're not.
You're not? Okay, fantastic. Do you think in the future you're going to, or you guys just going to keep holding on to it for a long time?
We will hold on to it.
Okay. Do you know anybody else that has anything that they're looking to sell in the Okaloosa County? I'm trying to put some money to work before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Goodness, I don't. Not personally, other than what I would see on listings that are already there. I don't
Okay.
know
All right.
neighbors who are in the mood.
Totally understand. Well, if you come across anybody at church or in your community or whatever, feel free to give them my number. My name's Tyler Austin. I'm here in Fort Walton Beach, and I'd love to help out any way that I can. Okay.
All right. Good
All
luck.
right. Thanks, Deborah. Bye. All right. So first dial correct number. And again, remember what I said earlier. How many probates? I have 65 this month. Now I've gotten in contact with 1. I'm sure we got in contact with more already, but boom, we're down to 64. You know what I mean? And so I'm just really trying to get as many. How many not interested does it take to get a lead? In my business, it's 21. Right? So I'm okay with that because now I just need to talk to 20 more people before I get a lead. Right? And so most people say, hey, the idea of like, hey, every no is closer to a yes, like that, like rah shit. Like, yeah, that's cool. But do you know how many no's actually it takes? Because like we do. And so that's an example. And so what I do now is I click my call attempts equal to 1, right? I updated my status, not interested. I put my correct number status, and now she's going to get called at the start of next quarter again through the not interested follow-up, right? Because it's probate. Most likely, I'm guessing that probably her husband passed away is my assumption. But then you just click on next record. And as they're doing that, they're doing this. So we've called 2 prospects so far. We've made, I think, 3 dials. We got one correct number. We got one not interested. And we got one wrong number and one dead number. Right. And so, buddy, he's down. He's my son. You can't see him right now. He's like laying below my feet. And when he does this, he grabs my foot and he sticks it on his butt. And I have to like rock his body back and forth. He's the weirdest little dude. So you can see my KPIs right now. I have a correct number to dial ratio is like a 33%. Right. And so my goal is to dial, if you're going to start the strategy, for every 100 dials, what does that ratio look like? Right. And then how many correct numbers do I need to get a lead? And then how many of those leads does it take to get a deal? And this is how you can really dial in and figure out what's what. This would actually, Pearl Street's a great location.
I want to talk about what you're talking about there, because this is it. What we're talking about right here is what I feel like the majority of Titanium University members are going to need when they first join, and then have this machine running forevermore, right?
Yeah.
Because what people see is they watch me go do the 50-day challenge and they say, okay, RJ, how did you do that? And I say, well, hey, I bought a shit ton of leads from LeadZola. I bought a shit ton of leads from Speed to Lead, and I had bulk dialing going by a team of cold callers in the background. Okay. So what I learned is my cold calling sucked because I didn't have this strategy going on. So this is where me and Tyler are working together. But what he just said there is, hey, it takes 20 no's to get to his yes, right? So during my 50-day challenge, it took 6 no's to get to my yes on PPL.
Right.
I was 1 in 7, but I was paying at the time $100. So I was paying $700 for that contract. Okay. On average through LeadZola. Through Speed to Lead, it was a little bit higher. But in this scenario, what are you paying for those 20 or those 21 calls? Well, the data collection essentially cost you a couple of hours from your VA, monthly subscription to REI Sift, and then a dialer. Is there anything else dollar and cents wise associated with this strategy? I guess if you have to skip trace.
Yeah, skip tracing, but like skip tracing itself cost. I mean, if I skip trace 200 new records a month, that's still only like $70 or $50. You know what I mean? Skip tracing.
That's a rare occurrence because a lot of these, like especially on the evictions, we already saw the numbers right there. So you don't even have to skip trace all of them. So a lot of more labor intensive up front, but this is the affordable way to get. So average cost per contract on this strategy is probably going to be like pennies.
Yeah, it's nothing compared to, doing bulk strategy. And again, it compounds, it gets cheaper over time. Like once you get one deal, I've always been a fan running my business, like one deal pays for my marketing for the year. You know what I mean? And that's how I look at it. Like, okay, if I can get one deal, it pays for my marketing for the year, and then anything else I have, that's gravy. And so with this strategy, it makes it so possible. I mean, just this year alone, I have this flip over here off of Hollywood. I got 80K there, 120K there, 5K. I got one up in Cantonment. That's another 100K flip. In fact, I used it as my example in our deal analysis training a couple days ago. And so I do this part-time while I'm running Sift, you know what I mean? And I still bring in multiple 6 figures, over, between 500 and 800,000 a year in revenue from like just doing first to market. Now, part of that also is that we didn't cover is you want to make sure that you also send the direct mail. That's a big part of the first to market challenge too, is you're doing all marketing strategies at once. You're calling, you're texting. If I didn't reach anybody there, for example, and it was a mobile number, I would have sent a text message, right? If I get a voicemail, I'm leaving a voicemail. And then every single Tuesday, I'm sending mail for it to send out on Friday. And so right now, for example, I actually haven't sent mail recently. I need to send, I think, 100 postcards right now. So if I come in here, all I do is click on direct mail, click on create campaign, and I just do a filter. I already have the filter set up. That's the amazing thing about like Sift and doing this strategy is literally with 7 filters. It's a whole business model. And all I got to do is remember or create a task to say, hey, once a week, I click on send mail, and then I click apply, and then I got 78 of them right now. Some of these are exhausted, so we didn't reach them via the phone, and so they're going to get mail now. And if it gets return mail, now it's like, cool, I didn't get any phone numbers, I got return mail. That's hot priority. That becomes an urgent lead now. So I select all 78, I click next, and then I'm just going to name this FTM pool week. What week or year are we in? Week 9, 2024. Okay, and then I'm going to do a single touch here. I can click load and I can just like choose like a default one, but I don't have that actually set up. I have this like test one or whatever, but that's not the one I want to use. So I'm just going to clear that. Oh man. Something like that. Okay, doesn't really matter what you name it, but, and I'm going to select, I like my picture doodle street view here. I select it and I'm going to swap out the image to the one that, not that one, not that one. What the, oh, there it is. So it has like my website URL on there. I'll leave everything else the same, click save mailer, and then I'm going to send it, I'm just sending it on Wednesday, and I click curry campaign. And so now mail is going to go out. And so now I'm hitting them in that way as well. So if I don't reach them via the phone, or even if I do, like they're still going to get another postcard from me. So even if they become a lead and then maybe I don't like engage them, like they're going to receive a postcard now and have that as a, like a way to put in their cabinet or put on their fridge or whatever. And so I'm really big with that. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's going to be super expensive, Tyler. I'm like, no, not really. You're thinking that because of your understanding, interpretation of what it is. But if I go into, I've actually created a resource here that we give in the challenge. But if I click on here and then go to, let me go resources, community members, calculators, first market direct mail. So this is like a projection thing. So let's just say I brought in, I don't know, 2 evictions and 2 of everything every single day. That would be 160 records a month total, right? So if I go to my direct mail projector, that means to send mail first to market, it would cost me $5,800 for the year to send mail to everybody every week, and then also once a month. You know what I mean? And then so in here, you could just kind of populate your inbound calls and stuff. And this is just an example, but in this example, you know, if you get, you know, however many deals, however many inbound phone calls, then your ROI, as an example, for 9,900 some postcards, it costs you $5,800. Response rate, you know, 2,500%, you know, ROI, which is pretty standard for like direct mail. But anyway, it's actually a lot cheaper than you think to do. It's because people think direct mail is expensive because of the fact that, like, yeah, well, you're thinking of sending like 10,000 records a month. I'm thinking about sending direct mail to the people who I'm like needing to get another touch on, because maybe that 80-year-old wife, you know, doesn't like answering the phone, or maybe it's a landline and she's too slow to get to it. And so, but she checks her mail every Saturday morning or every morning with her cup of coffee or whatever, right? I'm just taking my emotion out of it. And in the first market strategy saying, I'm just trying to get a hold of you in any way that you like to get a held of, right? Like whether it be through call, text, voicemail, whatever. But I know we're like way over time here by like almost an hour. I want to call one more because this is a duplex. Okay. So let's call this one last one, and then we'll get rock and rolling. So I think it was, where's that? Pearl Street. I'm just curious. Let me see if this guy owns a lot of properties. He doesn't. Okay. Fantastic. This is a probate multifamily. It's a duplex. We got to call it because, well.
Hold on real quick. I got it while you're dialing this. Matt, that was $5,000 a year, not a month.
Hello?
Hey, John.
Hey, John? Yes.
Hey, John, man. This is Tyler Austin. I'm down here in Fort Walton Beach. How you doing today?
Good. Who is this?
This is Tyler Austin. I was giving you a call, man, because I'm looking to pick up some more duplexes in the area, and 1235 North Pearl Street popped on my desk. So I was just giving a call to see if you guys plan on selling that property.
Yeah, no, it's not for sale. We're not planning on selling it.
Okay. Do you know anybody else around Pearl Street in that North Crestview area that might have something they're looking to sell, specifically like duplexes or any multifamily?
No, I don't.
No. Dang. Okay. Good deal, man. You mind if I follow up in the future at all? Like a couple years from now, whatever?
Sure, a couple years from now it'll be fine.
Okay. Awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for being cordial with me. Have a good one, John.
Sure, man.
All right, brother.
All right, you too.
Yep.
Bye.
See, a lot of people are like, oh, I got a fucking, he wasn't interested. I'm like, fantastic. I just got a correct number to somebody who inherited a duplex in Crestview, and there's only 534 duplexes in Okaloosa County, and I just got another one of them on my hood, right? It doesn't matter to me if I close this deal in 3 years from now, because like my portfolio, my wealth is not a tomorrow thing. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to update that as a correct number. Again, I'd like to point out, just for the record, that was now, if I update it, 3 prospects, 4 dials, 2 correct numbers. Okay. So it works is the whole point, right?
Yeah. Well, what you just showed me is for pennies, you are having quality conversations. And it's funny, dude. I'm sure you saw my video I made the other day. It made a ruckus, at least in my world, where I said, stop cold calling. And the purpose behind me saying it is I don't want people cold calling off of what you are basically defeating here, which is that bulk, like go to batch, go to prop stream, pull 10,000 records, spend $1,000 in skip tracing, and then just plug it in the dialer, and we're on the triple line, and we're just getting our teeth kicked in. You didn't get your teeth kicked in right there.
Not once.
And the other thing about it is that those are, like you said, quality leads. They just inherited a duplex. It's a correct number, and you can follow up with them.
Yep.
Like, that's way different than what I was referring to as far as stop cold calling.
Yeah.
The mass bulk cold calling, and it specifically, I was talking to the newer wholesaler that's trying to get in. They're taught that you have to do that to get your reps in, and I don't think that's where you should get your reps in. You should get your reps in with something like this, and then also with inbound leads.
Yeah.
Where that there's some sort of motivation there for them to sell. So, dude, I have to say, I'm going to need you to come into Titanium University and teach this. This is
100%.
This has to happen. I mean,
yeah.
I want the whole university. By the way, Tyler, you don't know this, but we just wrapped up our first full week of Titanium University with the first 30 members of the first class. Okay. We have one member that already has 6 signed contracts.
Damn.
The first day that we opened up, February 22nd, we did on our orientation at 9 a.m. Someone already had a signed contract before 11 a.m. from the strategy that we told them to take from the start. Dude, I think with the power of Sift and what you're talking about here with the first to market, if we added this to Titanium University, this would be unbelievable for the members there. So
it's 100%, man. It adds. I mean, there's no doubt about it that somebody just following the first to market strategy can produce, 300 to 800,000 a year company. Like, we have users doing it, and making 7 figures. You know what I mean? And it's all about just consistency and putting in the reps and then you add in PPL and you add in these other strategies, Lead Zolo, and now you're feeding those in. You add in SEO, and now it's like, hey, you're hitting everybody that you need to hit, that you want to spend time with, but then anybody that's searching or anybody that's poking around, like, you're also getting those inbound. And then you only really need one good lead manager in your company, and then somebody to make offers, right? And then you're set. And the rest of it's all up to your ability to, execute, private money, flipping versus wholesaling and everything else. But I do want to make sure it's understood too that for the bulk dialing aspect of things, for me personally, I do understand that for the probates, there's a lot of people that inherit a property or someone passes away and nobody files probate. Okay. And so I don't because my objective is to own the market. I don't want to forget about those. And so the only list that we really bulk dial is what I call opportunity data. And that, in my case, is based upon my recent transactions on probates. I look at, or any closings, I look at the age of the property. How long did the owner own the property? And I pull a list and build it based off of that so that I can generate correct numbers based around my target avatar asset, right? And that is more likely then to become my target first to market strategy, right? That way I already have those correct numbers. You'll notice that as you do first to market, you'll add this probate in here, but you already had the address and already called through it and already had a correct number to like the sibling or something like that, because it was part of my 10 plus year single family residence list. And I had spoke to the kid, a year and a half ago, and so I do believe in combining the strategies, but you don't hop into that other strategy, bulking and sitting there on a dialer for 8 hours a day just to generate maybe one lead, spending thousands of dollars to be able to execute on it, when, there's a better way to do it. You grow into your shoes, you know what I mean? And that's my philosophy around it, at least. So I'm 100% on par with that.
I want to paint a beautiful picture here. Okay. Imagine a community that meets daily, which is what we do. Every single day, me and Cassie meet with our community. So far, we're averaging somewhere between an hour and an hour and a half with every single member. Okay. Where we teach you how to have real conversations with sellers, just like Tyler did, where it's real. You don't have to lie. You don't have to manipulate. You don't have to do anything. Where you can have inbound leads coming to you that are affordable, that need to sell, where you could be going through and being first to market to people that are motivated, that hey, probate, foreclosures, tax delinquency, things that they need investors. They need us. I'm doing a video on Sunday about wholesaling is oversaturated. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not oversaturated. That's something that people want to put in your mind, but it's not oversaturated at all. And then when you're looking at the other system that we use here, Tyler, that I think maybe you haven't even thought about, Investor Lift. Bro, I could go in there and I can literally look at what markets have the highest average assignment fee in the country. I don't need to do first to market in my backyard. I want to do first to market where I make the most money. Yeah. So I can go look in there and I can now say, hi, VA, you are now trained on first to market. This is what you're going to do. And you're going to do it in this county right here. Yeah. Because Investor Lift, with all of its $1 billion in assignments since its inception, this is the place that the highest average assignment is. Because why? If I only get one or two all year, it didn't cost me anything.
Right. And here's the other thing on that is, whatever the highest assignment is in that market, I can nearly guarantee you that if you add first to market to the equation, it's probably going to be almost 3 times whatever that is. Right? Like double at minimum. And that's just because most of these people aren't talking to those people yet, like ever. The person that's going to fit with this criteria, especially if you end up getting some of those exhausted ones, it's going to be higher than that. So that's even better, because then you can find that, and then you could you need even less. And so if you combine the highest assignment in that market with the most accessibility to data and merge those two together, you could just have a VA pull data in all those locations, and the caller doesn't matter. Whoever the caller is, they just need to be able to figure out, is it the correct number? You don't need to worry about that person's dedicated to just that market. They just need to know that they have data to work, and track their results. And then as you generate leads, just focus more energy on the location you're getting more leads in. That's something I haven't dealt with a ton. I haven't dealt with Investor Lift a ton, but I know the power of users being able to do this nationwide, because I've been trying to combat, and that's why I think it's awesome that that we're going to be able to help so many people through Titanium as well, because people have always thought Sift in the first to market and all these different strategies, it's not scalable and it can only be done for those that don't have money in their market. It's no, think of it this way: how many people do you know that you've heard of that do foreclosure auctions nationwide? How many people buy from foreclosure auctions nationwide? A ton of them. Like a lot of really big companies do only auctions purchased nationwide. This is the same thing, except for you're getting it before the auction. You're just pulling the data. And there is places you can get nationwide, foreclosure data and probate data and stuff like that. But going to the county directly, you're always going to beat those people out. 100%.
Dude, I'm so pumped. I mean, I just sat back. First of all, this is the easiest live I've ever done. So thank you. I just pretty much sat back and just watched you. But I'm so pumped at what you just showed me today because I'm already thinking to myself, like, okay, I can literally have a VA that works like these 2-3 counties. And then that data is coming in and it's going to that acquisitions person, that cold caller, whoever it is. And then we're constantly pumping out leads inside of these high assignment areas for a very low cost per contract.
Yeah.
And then what can this do for our community? Where one of the biggest things our community struggles with is, what do I do in between the times of my inbound leads when I'm just getting started? So, for example, for us, we don't ever have to worry about new leads coming in because we have thousands of leads that we've built up over the course of years. Well, what if you just started? You go buy 10, 20 leads, you're waiting on those to trickle in. So they need some sort of outbound strategy themselves. This is it. This is the strategy to add to it right here. Matt Smith says, I love this strategy because not many people will put that much work into it. That's facts. It's a good way for someone who wants to succeed to actually make it without going broke. Also, I mean,
and what's really cool is some people ask me, like, well, Tyler, how do I make more money? I'm like, okay, well, start here with single family residences. And then all you have to do is just add in a higher asset value class. You want to do commercial, like RV parks and stuff like that. You just do the same thing against that data set. You want to pull all the addresses of mobile home parks in Florida. Then you do the same marketing strategy. Yes, it's not first to market, but you're doing the same type of marketing to that asset class to generate commercial deals. We have like guys that are, one of them started early last year and he's already got 1,000 doors from RV parks and trailer parks on just calling just exactly what I just showed you now. But like, he's just doing it against that list. You know what I mean? He's like, I just want to contact all 1,500, RV parks in these states. It's so easy and it doesn't really matter which you do it against. It's just about the process. And once you get it set up, which is super easy, like the first market challenge is literally step by step. Like you come out of it with this all set up I just taught you, you know what I mean? And then the rest of it is just your ability just to not think about all the shit over here. If you just stop thinking, well, what do I do next? And just think, like, let me just click here and just do this, then you'll be successful. A lot of people they overthink it, and that's all. So I love it, man.
Also, someone said, how much is Titanium University and how long is it? I'm having trouble finding it. If you're having trouble finding it because it's brand new, we just started February 22nd. The website is titaniumu.com. How long is it? It's forever. Once you're in until you're either a shithead and I kick you out or you're stuck with me forever. So it's lifetime access. How much is it? Well, the first class is $5,000. Second class is going to be more than $5,000 because you weren't part of the first class. We discounted them because it wasn't fully built out. We're getting feedback from them right now. We're going to be opening it up probably in the next week or so. We just decided the second wave, they're going to be called the second Genesis. So we had first class, like X-Men first class. Then we're going to have the second Genesis. And we're going to be opening that up. You can join the wait list at titaniumu.com. I will let you know. There are close to 100 people already on the wait list, and we will only be taking somewhere around 30 to 40 people on the second Genesis. So it's going to sell out, and then we're going to shut it down again, and then we'll open it back up for the third wave. And we're going to continue to do that where you're coming in classes. It's not just going to be a free-for-all where you just have to figure out your way. We're going to bring you in. Tyler, brother, I appreciate you, man. It clicked today. We figured out how we're going to work together. It's going to be this right here.
Yep.
This is the way that Sift is going to be able to make a huge impression inside of Titanium University. I appreciate everything that you do for this community. By the way, guys, reminder, because I mean it's fucking badass. reisift.io/titanium. He doesn't do this anywhere else. Sign up now. You get 25% off of REI Sift for 3 months. Okay. So click on that link. It's in the show notes, reisift.io/titanium. You get 25% off for your first 3 months. Man, just appreciate. You're literally like, hey, most vendors are like, they're at the like 55-minute mark, and they're like, hey, so we're gonna be wrapping this up. I'm gonna call more. And like I said, you're the first person to come in here and lock up a deal using their own stuff. So I love it. Aaron Armstrong just asked, what is Titanium University? It's our community. It's our program, man. We literally show you everything. It's ongoing forever and ever. There's modules, there's a community, there's daily implementation calls with myself, Cassie, Sima, Nick, Justin, Garrett, Keaton, everybody in there for Titanium is in there every single day. Like I said, we're averaging hour and a half long implementation calls. So, Tyler, go enjoy your weekend, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Make sure you like this video. We'll see y'all next time.